This will be a very simple video. Ideally, it's just about how to keep Steam online, yet be able to play Dark Souls 2 offline since we don't have an in-game option to be offline. So that's what I'm going to cover first, and then I'll just go over a few basic functions and maybe highlight some that weren't as intuitive for me. But for the most part, this table, like the Dark Souls 3 and even the Dark Souls Remastered cheat table, they're pretty intuitive, so they don't need elaborative explanations. So, to keep Steam online but play offline, you'll need, of course, a cheat table. And the one I'm going to show first, which has the script, is from this website. All the links I'll show will be in the description. And you're going to download the second file here, darksouls2.rar. So you'll need an unarchiver software to open it. I use this one called BreezeZip. I found it on the Microsoft Store. I prefer it over WinRAR, but if you like using WinRAR, then go ahead. As long as you can just unarchive a RAR file, that's all that matters. So once you have that opened, it will just give you this one. So I named it after the uploader, just to keep things simple. So you open it up, and you select yes. And in case you don't know how to use cheat tables or use Cheat Engine, I've linked a video that shows me going through how to download Cheat Engine and then using a cheat table for Dark Souls Remastered. So go ahead and look at that first if you're not already familiar with this. So we just come up here, select Dark Souls 2. And then if we were to use this option, you know, you can either double click or you can hit the enter key to bring it up. If I were to switch it to offline here, it would put you offline, but if you want to use the NPC summons or the shades, you won't have access to them since this shuts it down globally. I'm not sure how exactly it does it, but it does remove the NPC summons even if you have your humanity. So you'll want to navigate down here to connection, and you can click on the squares or press the spacebar to open it. And then this is the script we're going to select, the disconnect from online. So I'll do that later just to showcase it. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to the, what's his name? The last, quote, last giant, and show you what I mean. Okay, so here I'm at the fog wall, and since I have my humanity restored, I should see a shade and a normal summon here, even if I am offline, which I went ahead and did. I switched the server connection to be offline, so if I were to come back online, whoops, there we go. They reappear as well as the online messages, right? So again, if you put this to offline, then it shuts down everything. If you come down here, and you enable this script once, and once you see that message in the background, you can go ahead and deselect that. And it just says lost connection to game server, switching to offline mode. And you're like, okay, cool. And even though the messages disappeared and the bloodstains that were behind me disappeared, you'll still have access to the online summons as if we did have a genuine offline mode, as we do in Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls 3. So that's about it. It's really that simple. I appreciate this script probably the most because it's like a tiny detail they should have included in Dark Souls 2. You know, you can agree or disagree, but I just miss having it. Now, as for the other simple ones, I really don't know what else to do. I mean, in the scripts here, these are pretty intuitive. I enabled this just to have infinite iframes, and you can pretty much read the description of these scripts and you'll know what they do. The only ones I care to mention specifically, I'll go ahead and open the secondary table actually. So from this point on, it's just going to be, you know, me highlighting a few other basic functions. So then this secondary table, which by the way, you can have more than one cheat table connected to the game as long as the cheat table was designed for the game. So I can go ahead and just open this up. And let me just put that over there, put this over here. This cheat table now on the left side, I got from GitHub, from Atvaark, right? So you just come here, you can come to this download link, it'll take you to a Mediafire page, which is fine. I know Mediafire can be a bit sketch, but it's not. These are simple direct downloads that only contain the cheat table file itself and nothing else. And then I have malware bytes and all that sort of thing, so it's perfectly fine. But again, if you just don't want to use Cheat Engine, then don't. It's really up to you. But that's where you find it on that website, which is in the description. So let's go ahead and connect it to Dark Souls 2. Now for this one, it's picky. It likes to be opened first. I don't know why, it just does. So in case you open this one up, let's just go ahead and disable it for now. You'll want to open it and it crashed my game. Yeah, so you'll want to disable the scripts first before you disable the entire thing. So let me just go ahead and restart the game. Alright, so since it crashed on me, I just went ahead and closed out the tables first. So I'll just open up the first cheat table again, reconnect it to the game. And this is all you have to do in case it does crash on you. If not for this reason, maybe another reason. It can happen from time to time. So I'm just going to do a general offline shutdown for now while I open this so that I don't get invaded during the video, right? And so again, because I opened this second after this one, I'll just go ahead and disable this. Open that up, open this back up. So it keeps you offline. It does save some of your settings. Again, the scripts are active in real time, so the moment you disable a script, it disables the effect. Usually, there are some scripts that remain permanent unless you shut down the game and restart entirely. But for things like this, like Boolean values, whether it's on or off and that's it, it usually preserves it until, again, you restart the game. So then, one cool thing about this, won't work for everything, but in this case it does. If you just like one or two of the scripts from this cheat table, but you still prefer this one overall, that's the case for me. Like there's some scripts in here, such as fly script, really useful. It's the same fly script we see from Dark Souls Remastered and DS3. You know, it just allows you to go wherever, so that's really neat. That's something that this table doesn't have. It has no gravity, but that's it. So if I wanted to just have this script in this table because I really don't care to have two tables open when this is the only script I'm utilizing from this table, then you can just right click, copy, and then let's just go ahead and paste it beneath here. And it works just the same, right? So now I'm in offline mode, but I still have those summon signs. Now again, this won't, you can't just copy pasta everything. For example, if I were to come to the scripts here in player, one of the things that this has that this table doesn't is allowing us to pass through creatures, because here it only provides, what's it called here? Pass through any door, which really it lets you pass through objects as well, but not everything. You'll still collide with walls unless there's a secret passage in the wall. So for example, at the bonfire here, if you don't explode the wall, you can still walk through it because there's a path there. Or if you don't have a Feros lockstone and you know where the door is, you can still go through the wall where that opening would be if you had used a lockstone. So things like that. But if it's just a standard wall or a standard collision, then you can't go through it. It's not a no clip. So it just lets you go through doors or passageways, which is still useful. But anyway, coming back here with the creatures, again, this just allows you to pass through NPCs and enemies. So in case you ever wanted to do that. But if I were to come here and do copy, and let's just paste it below here, the reason why it won't activate there, but it activates here, my guess, you know, if I were to double click here, this is, I'm gonna assume, the code for the actual script, but if you right click, it says there's an error in trying to, what I assume is to acquire the base pointer. Now this goes beyond my knowledge, so I don't know how to fix that, but in case you do, just know that if something relies on pointers or specific memory addresses, in this case, for us to pass through creatures, we need some kind of information from the character itself, then you can't just copy paste. But because this this script doesn't really rely on a pointer from our character or from the game per se, maybe it does, but because it just relies on general information, that's why you're able to just paste it over to another one. So long story short, if you paste something over and it doesn't work here, it's not because it wouldn't work, it's just that you have to alter the script itself, which again goes beyond my knowledge. So just keep that in mind. But really, I only ever need to use this. And since it's passed through any door, I could just, you know, if you don't like the description of a script, for example, you can double click on it and rename it. So you could just rename this pass through objects if that's just more intuitive for you, right? And then when you begin editing stuff, maybe you're like, oh, you know, I'll never use this team type script. So you can just right click and delete record, and then you can start minimizing it. You know, maybe there's just a bunch of stuff here that you don't care to use and you don't want to have to be scrolling forever just to activate a few scripts. You can delete entries as well as adding entries. And then just to ensure that it saves your entries, you just come up here into File, select Save As, then you just choose a destination. And I don't know, since it's a combination of the two, I can just go ahead and be like, oh, this is the Atvaark cheat table, right? And then save it there. Come back here. You see that it shows up. Again, reattach it to the game. Now I'm guessing since I still have this one open, oh gosh, now I have too many. Is it this one? It's this one. Let's go ahead and disable everything first. Doot, doot, doot. Okay. Will you open now? There we go. See? it's very picky as to which one it likes to have open. And so now that that one's open, we can go ahead and, oh gosh, where's the other one now? We can go ahead and reopen this one. So we'll put you, actually we'll put the combo one in the middle. How's that? We'll just do that. And as you can see, the middle one, which is the one we just saved, so it's this combo one here in the middle, it preserved the entries that we have and the ones that we deleted. And if we even come down here into the scripts, it preserved, where is it? Pass through objects. There you go. So that's how, like, if you make edits like that and you want to make sure they're saved, you just have to save it as a new cheat table. And then one other thing I noticed, okay, so this one here in the scripts. Okay, so in the Zoan table, it's in NPC and world, despawn monsters and NPCs respawn. So this script is the same as this. Now, when you use this, let me see if I can demonstrate it actually. So here, just to use another script just for shits and giggles. Whoops. Oh, let's just do this one. It's the same thing. Infinite items, sure. When you use the despawn enemies from this one, it'll also despawn the NPCs, as you can see with this one, because this one has it in the name, and NPCs. So, right, she's there right now. So if we were to use, I'll just go ahead and show you with this one. If I were to despawn, in order for the despawn to take effect, you have to rest at a bonfire. Right? So now she's gone. If I were to come down here, the enemies should be gone too. I almost died because I don't have the iframe script on. That would have been funny. So this one isn't really useful if you still want to do NPC story missions, but I imagine if you want to do maybe a scenic recording, you know, kind of mess around with the camera, which I haven't been able to figure out here. There is a camera section, but it doesn't really help you go into first person. And there may be a way to make the character invisible so that you're just looking at the scenery, but I haven't gotten that far yet. But that's the only way, or maybe you just want to get to a specific area just to get there. But if ever you want them to come back, you actually have to select the respawn option and then travel. So we can just travel to this same bonfire. Because as you saw, simply resting at it wasn't enough to bring the enemies back. But if you travel and enter a loading screen, then they're back. And then once that's good, you can disable it there. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I want to point out that isn't blatantly obvious from the descriptions? Well, I guess I'll just briefly go over the item swap. It's not terribly different. The only big difference between this one and the Dark Souls Remastered one is that you have to drop the item and you can't drop several items and just walk up to them. So I guess I'll just demonstrate how you can use that. So let's just go back to Majula for this, because why not? We do have a highlighted items though. I can't recall if I noticed one in the DS Remastered or DS3 ones, but even if it's there, it's here too, so that's useful. So since I have Do I have it, actually? I went ahead and closed the cheat table I made as a combo from these two. Sure, let's just do unlimited goods, which will allow me... Why isn't it working? Oh, duh. It's because it's active here. Alright, so that's good to know. I mean, that makes sense since, yeah, they are the same script that you can't reactivate it a double time. So just keep that in mind if you are using both and you're like, why isn't this working? Because it's here. So anyway, activating the unlimited goods will allow me to drop stuff but still keep the same number. So let's just say I want to turn these life gems into the elite set, right? So I'll just go ahead and drop one, and then here I'll just drop another one down here just to show you what I mean. Okay, so in the Dark Souls Remastered, the item swap was pretty cool in that you could just walk up to an item on the ground and it would update. So here I'm just at the normal life gem, but it's still tied to the Radiant life gem. So in this case, you really do just have to drop it one by one if you want armor pieces, or as a stack if you want consumables that also stack. So since we're here at the Radiant life gem after we dropped it, we can go ahead and come here. Now this item swap menu does allow you to look up items just by typing in the name, whereas the other one here, where is it? I think it's item mod here and the item swap here. It won't let me open it since it's already open here, but if you were to use the Zoan table, you actually need the memory addresses here in order to search for the item, unlike here where you can just start typing the item name and it shows it to you. But if you're even using the, I keep forgetting names, the Atvaark table. Even if you're using the Atvaark table here and the item isn't showing up even though you're typing it in, then you can come to this website and then just look up the item you want, and it will give you the ID. In the event that you can't look it up by name, but you could look it up by ID, and then you would just paste the ID of the item into the item ID field here. Alright, so since the durability defaults to -1 and this is an armor piece or for weapons or anything with durability, just go ahead and set it to any positive number, like 1, 4, really doesn't matter as long as it's a positive. Or if you know the durability of the item, you can just put it to the durability of the item. But if you do it above the durability, it could cause some issues, so it's just better to put it at a minimal value, and then when you rest at the bonfire, it'll repair it automatically, right? And as you see, it's the Elite Knight Helm. Now since we have to come back here and pick this back up, let's go ahead and drop it again. Because even if you pick up items, that's not enough to tie it to the memory address. It's dropping the items that ties the memory address here. So now that we've dropped a life gem, we have the life gem. And let's just go ahead and do Elite Knight Armor. Once again, durability set to 1. You could change the upgrade level and the infusion type here, but I'm not focusing on what you can do and what you can't do to not get banned. As it is, I'm doubting if there's even an anti-cheat for Dark Souls 2. Maybe there is, but there's no way for me to know it, because anytime I load the game online, all it tells me is no new information. So maybe the anti-cheat is still active, maybe they disabled it, I don't know, I don't really care. If you're concerned about being banned, then I suggest looking up forums that are recent, you know, at least within the last 6 months or something. I know that the DS3 anti-cheat is very minimal. If you get banned in DS3, it's because you're an idiot. And DS Remastered is the same way. You know, I did a bunch of crazy edits in my videos and the accounts are still good. So I've been using this for about a week, doing all this crazy stuff, and it's been fine. So I make no guarantee that this is safe, but I doubt it's unsafe. So I'll just leave it at that. So we come here, we have the Elite Knight Armor. And just to see, yep, at 1 durability and at 1 durability. So all you have to do, come to the bonfire and rest. You know, once you're done swapping in the items that you want, and then it's at maximum durability. The only time it won't repair items is if you already have the, where is it? No durability damage. If this is active and you're swapping in items that aren't at full durability, even if you rest, it won't repair them. So let's say you swapped in the Elite Knight armor at 4 out of 85 durability and you rested, but you had the no durability damage script enabled, it won't update the durability because it freezes your durability values. It neither breaks them nor repairs them. So in case you want to update durability values, you have to disable the durability damage script. So that's another thing. And then here, there's no soul loss on death. That's pretty cool. That's what people were asking me for in the DS Remastered and DS3. I haven't found it in those yet, but it's here in DS2. You know, when you die, you don't lose your souls, and you also don't lose your humanity. And then here, I imagine if you die, you would lose your souls, but you wouldn't lose your humanity. So you wouldn't need to use effigies with this enabled. So in case you enjoy going to re-grab your souls or something, you could just have this enabled. But if you have no souls on death enabled, it'll prevent soul loss and hollowing. And yeah, I can't, here, let me think. What else could there be? Well, alright, I mean, it's here. The highlighted item, right? If we go to consumables, Radiant Life Gem is at 5, so it's in consumables. You can see it there, 5. We come to Repair Powder, 2. If I were to change this to 10, already updates it to 10 there. Actually, I've never tried it with armor, because armor doesn't stack, so I'm curious. Yeah, so you can't. If you wanted to duplicate armor, you'd have to swap it in, since they don't stack anyway. But you can change the durability values here, it seems. Yeah, okay. So you can do it here. There's several different ways for you to do edits. You know, you don't have to do it at the item swap. You could also do it here and highlight it. And then in the Atvaark table here, right? That's your name? My god, I'm so bad with names, honestly. Yeah, Atvaark, okay. Where is it? I think it's in Helper's Equipped Weapon. Let's just do right hand one. So what do I have in my right hand? The rapier, okay. So as you can see right now, I'm at 149 plus 57 physical damage. If you just wanted to be very powerful to one-shot enemies on your way to a boss or whatever, you can go to Helper's Equipped Weapon, right hand, and you can do the other hands if you want. Damage multiplier, let's just set this to something ridiculous like 40, and you can see here in the background it updated, 5980 plus 56, right? And even if you rest or enter loading screens, the value will actually be saved to the weapon, but if you shut down the game and restart it, it goes back to normal. So you're not editing the items stats permanently, you're just editing them in your current session. And then there's other stuff here. I only really used it for the damage multiplier because I just got a tickle out of one-shotting enemies with a little broken straight sword, right? And then that's really it. Everything else, if you don't already know it, you could probably know it. And again, this isn't some advanced tutorial on how to do bullet edits or anything. There's other videos on YouTube for that. I'm not going to cover it because I don't need that for my offline play. So yeah, the big thing here for me was, again, just the offline script. And then you don't have to keep it enabled, you can leave it disabled if you want once the message shows that you went offline. And then you can see here the connection, when it's set to a 0, it tells you that you're offline. But again, if you were to come here and switch it to a 0 without doing the disconnect from online script, then it will shut down the NPC summons and shades as well.